Yes.
Okay. Okay, friends. Welcome back at another session of Thinking and Destiny. Before we go further into what Percival is giving us today, let us meditate on his consciousness for a few minutes and then move on to the today's session. Please sit in a meditative posture, cross your legs, clasp your hands, and close your eyes. If you have eyewear, please remove it. We do not need it now. Concentrate on a point. Be in a awareness state and see how this point leads to a thought. If you say, while meditating, I'm not getting any thoughts, you're in a very good state. Leave that. Enjoy your emptiness. If not, if thoughts are disturbing you, check the point where these thoughts are emerging in your mind. All it starts with one tiny point, emerges, links up to the different thoughts. Make it a big thought. The mind is carried away by leaving its own happy state of emptiness. Percival taught us how to create a thoughts, how to start thinking without creating thoughts. How to do your job without creating unnecessary karmic bondage. Slowly rub your palms, keep it on your eyes for a few seconds, and open your eyes with a beautiful smile on your face.
Thank you, Prasanna.
Go ahead and review. Yeah, go ahead and Balagar. Before we go further, Let's review what we have learned the last session. I think we have gone through the 4 sections in one stretch. Balagari will review.
Okay, now let's go into the last session summary. The point of circle, which makes the method of thinking in fashioning the how we know. No. So the forms of nature comes from the human thoughts. Exterior universe follows the pattern in the human thoughts. The points, lines, angles, surfaces, and curves are everywhere and exteriorized as the forms of the physical world, and they are invisible. So they are there in the physical world as points, lines, angles, but they are invisible. Only a compacted mass of surface is visible, but not one surface alone. So because they are compacted one on each other and formed a solid matter, that is only visible. 4 earth elements build up expresses visibly, audibly, tangibly in solid matter according to the thinking and the thoughts of human beings. All developments and changes occur according to the method of points and limiting curve, which is the circle. Fungi, like lichens and mosses, buds, flowers, fruits, and seeds, trunks, and branches are all built by the method of expressing as a point as a circle, embodying forth human thoughts. So these are all from human thoughts, humans we are creating. Plant structures were lodged as transient units in parts of the human body. They build up. So they're all these different plants, they are all inbuilt in our human body. How the plants examples such as oak represents nerve structure, cabbage as a gland, cactus as a primitive state of the spine, and vine as a creeper as a blood vessel, grass, moss are needles of the evergreen representing hair. Human thoughts force the units of the 4 earth elements to bring forth, to keep up, and to destroy the bodies of the animals. These also we create this one also, destroying the bodies of the animals and keeping up. Plants and animals get their forms from human thoughts, though humans are not aware of this. These forms are in the case of short-lived animals as butterflies, insects, and vermin as desires of the living, and in the case of mammals, birds, reptiles, and fishes, desires cast off by doers after death. So the elementals which have passed through a human body to build also inorganic in nature, like rocks and all. In this way, they make rocks, water, and the air and fill out all inorganic nature with phenomena from starlight and sunsets, blue sky, thunder, to mountains and dust. So this is how this phenomena is done according to the method of the point and circle under the direction of upper elementals ordered by intelligences and their triune selves. So this phenomena of how we create the starlight, and all this, it is done under the guidance of intelligences and their triune selves. The point matter or units in the fiery state develops into the units in the airy state of that plane, then into the angular matter, then into the units in the fluid state of that plane, and then into the surface matter, next into the units in the earthly state of that plane. So this is how the changes occur, that we have gone through, how the point matter becomes a surface matter. From a point of a solid matter is developed into a surface solid matter. In every stage of the concretion from a solid form matter into solid physical matter, as point matter is the beginning and extended into the matter line and then into an aim line, which being line matter attracts line matter. So this is how it happens in concretion. Radiant units will be termed pyrogen, airy units as aerogen, fluid units fluogen, and solid units geogen. These 4 kinds of units are 4 main stations in the growth of units from the lowest state of the form plane into the lowest physical state. These systemic stages through which a unit passes and all come into existence by the successive growth of point matter, line matter, angle matter, and surface matter limited by a curve. So this is how everything occurs. The result of the growth is always a single unit, not a combination of units. It goes through all that before chemistry and physics can deal with it all. So they say, even though we think like in terms of physics, chemistry, but all this goes through before all that. All units of whatever kind, group or subgroup are, they have in common the 12 points on the circle. And only 4 are actual, the remaining 8 being potential. These 4 points may become active, and after their activity, they depending on the combining capacity of the unit with other units. And also after they become active, depends upon how they merge. Every unit has a passive and an active side, that is a matter aspect and a force or spirit aspect. That is which, Prakriti and Purusha, that is the nature and the spirit side. The place where these units are, from pyrogen units, which are the beginning of the radiant matter, to the unqualified geogen units, which are at the end of the grades of the development of a solid matter. It is the region between the outermost stars and the center of the earth. Pyro is the star on the top, and the geo is the bottom earth one. Radiant matter is in airy matter, and that in fluid matter, and that in solid matter. So this is how it one in the other one. Finer matter penetrates coarser one. So that is how all these they penetrate one into the other. Because of this interpenetration of units, the outpourings of the sun may be directly inhaled and bodily exhalations be drawn into the sun. Thus, the physical body may be made immune to the disease and endowed with youth. A man sitting in a chair may actually be in contact with the farthest star. That's what he's saying. Pyrogen is starlight, aerogen is sunlight, fluorogen is moonlight, and geogen is earthlight. None of these lights could be operative without the earth. None of these things are true light. They are only the units in states of matter affected through the triune self by the light of the intelligence. The stars, sun, moon, and earth are foci in which the 4 states of matter on the physical planes are centered. The centers are connected, each with the one above or within it. The sun is needed to bring and circulate starlight. The sun is needed to bring and circulate the starlight. Without the moon, there would be no contact with the sunlight. Without the earth, there could be no contact with the moonlight. The sun centralizes the starlight and radiates it through the aid of the moon to the earth. So they are all interconnected. Geogen units are rarest at the stars and the earth center and densest inside the earth crust. So the geogen units are densest in the earth, that we know. A unit of the geogen kind is the beginning of solidity. Geogen units are the beginning of every object of a solid nature, whether it will be a human body or a layer of a marble rock. Without geogen, there could not be any solid. Geogen units are the building blocks of the universe. Geogen units are in fluids and also they are in gases. Solid objects, no matter how permanent they seem, they are in a state of flux. Objects that last for ages, such as marble rock or granite, are not permanent in their makeup, even though we think like that. The particles in both are constantly moving, though the contours of the marbles and of the rivers are more lasting. Streams of units pass continuously through all the waters or fluids as though the solids they pass through the air and the radiant matters in it. So this, everything goes through it. In no case they are visible because human senses are not fine enough to perceive them. All this is happening, but our human eyes cannot perceive it. An imperfect structure comes into existence when the combination units do not enter each other, and now no new matter line is formed, but their surfaces come together. So this is the combination only, combining units only, it expresses. Example is a diamond, graphite, and a lamp black are examples of perfect structure, of an imperfect structure, and of a mass without structure, made by units of geogen. A diamond comes into existence if all combining units are the same kind, that is, belong to the geogen group. The growth and the combining and compounding of the pyrogen, aerogen, fluogen, and geogen units are accomplished on the principle of the point developing by line angle towards a circle. That's it. That's all I had.
Thank you. Thank you, Balagaru, for the quick recap. Now, today we will start with the next chapter. What is our next chapter? So until now, we think zodiac signs is like the sunshines or the constellations. Depending on the constellations, the astrology will be coming and all, right? So according to the Percival, how actually these zodiac signs are forming and how this can be. So we already was introduced the 12-point circle, isn't it? From the beginning, we are already learning the 12-point ones because there are the 12 parts of the life that we have it, and one after the another that we are actually going up, right? And also in the previous chapter, like 7th chapter, we learned about the point and circle and also the say language of the universe. The language like we talk in Telugu, English, Hindi, or whatever the languages that we are trying to communicate, the universe is trying to communicate with the language of the symbols. That's what Balagaru has just now given the thing, right? So geometrical symbols such as points, circles, straight lines, curves, horizontal lines, perpendicular lines, opposite lines, angles, 30 degrees angle represents something, 60 degrees angle. So this combination of all these geometrical symbols are the figures that universe is trying to communicate it. That's what the thing is. There's a separate subject like a sacred geometry where how the universe is working on these particular symbols. So to simplify it or to say apply for the normal life, how to understand these geometrical symbols. If you say a Hindu temple was built with a certain kind of architecture, certain kind of the gopuram will be defined in certain kind of things, whereas the different kind of the Jain temple may be having a different kind of thing. So they follow certain kind of architecture wherein because that particular architecture is drawing some kind of positive energy and keeping in the temple. That's the reason why whenever you go to the temple, you feel such positive vibes, or you feel like you can just sit calmly and quietly and feel the presence of the God kind of thing, right? And also I told you like why and how that God is getting that power that we have discussed in the previous chapters itself. But those structure is representing the is also helping, like similarly like in our meditation we are actually following this pyramid which is having some 53 degrees angles or 50 degrees some particular angle thing, right? So which means this is actually giving me a kind of a positive energy that we can. So these are all the symbols, these are all the circles or symbols that it is exactly working on. Okay, that is how we can do that, right? So that's what is happening. So these are not just the pictorial representations. They give some kind of energy to think, to connect with the things, right? So what is the connecting? It is connecting with the triune self. Ultimately, it is connecting with the triune self, which people are not familiar. So people will say we are connecting to the energy happy, we are connecting. So triune self, you are connecting to yourself, that you are the knower, doer, knower, and doer, thinker, and knower. So you are connecting to your knower. That's what these symbols are all helping. The free thinking from the suspicious, sensuous objects, these are all the best thing because the free thinking for all these sensual objects, therefore, they are the best things for representing the qualities of your relationships of the parts of the object. So, how this will happen? How these geometrical symbols are representing coming the units of the nature So these geometrical symbols are representing the units of the nature and its form, solidity or watery, flowy or kind of airy, these things, right? So these geometrical symbols. One of these values of these geometrical symbols are compared to the other symbol is it is the greater directness. It has an accurate, these mathematical symbols is having a very accurate and it has a completeness which represents, which cannot be expressed in the words, because those symbols, whatever it is showing, it cannot be expressed in the words. These symbols not only representing the essentials, but also they are more than just mere representation. They are not just a representation of, so the Taurus represents some symbol. It's not mere representation, it has a lot of meaning. That's what they are saying. Because geometrical symbols have a relation to the circle, because at the end, all these geometrical symbols are in one circle, right? In one circle, there are 12 symbols are there, because they are having a relationship with that circle. What is the circle represents? Circle is always the whole, right? Wholeness. Circle is representing the wholeness. So in that wholeness, these 12 symbols were pointed out. They are mental. So above, the more potent than the symbols of the physical objects such as crown or scales. Or these are not the scales. Suppose if I say we have 7 chakras, somebody when actually someone who is actually learning the spirituality, so he went to the graveyard and he digged one of the body and he cut the body into that and he wanted to see where are the chakras. So can you able to see the chakras like that? Even though the chakras are there, yes, they are there. But they are actually metaphoric things. They are the junctions of the nerves where the actually the energy was there. So similarly here also the geometric symbols. Can you see in that circle? The circle itself is an abstract. In that these symbols are again the abstract. So that symbols we need to keep some name. That's why we keep Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sagittarius. Some names we just kept it later. So, but these are all the actually abstract things where there is a symbol. When we cross that symbol, right? So what will happen? There's a 12 points of that circle. The method of using the geometrical symbol is to relate the points to the circle. So let me show you the diagram once so that we can relate. Sorry. Okay. This one only 2D, 3D. Sorry. This is all done. Okay. This is all point and circle. This is what we saw fourth one, right? Point, and this is also done. Here, this is what actually the 12 points, right? These are all the states after the death, but these are the 12 points that we are actually going to see in here also. Here, this is the symbol. This is a circle, the zodiac, and these are all the symbols. These are the symbols that actually it is talking about, means the universe symbol that is talking about. For these symbols, we kept some names. We kept Taurus, we kept Sagittarius, some names, because these are all the universal symbols, but each symbol has its own meaning. Suppose if you say, see here, we will go through one by one, but we will say, so this symbol is an Aries, because we say that from the constellation point of view, from this date to this date, whoever born falls under that. This Aries symbol, the whoever is born is representing corresponding to the head, the body part. Okay, and they represent more symbolizes consciousness. Second one, Taurus people represents motion, symbolizes motion, and they correspond to neck. Gemini people, substance symbolizes, and they correspond to shoulders. Cancerians, breath and breasts. Leo, the life and heart. Virgo, form and prostate at the womb. Libra, sex, the symbolizes and crotch, the body part. Scorpio, desire, male organ and clitoris. Sagittarius, thought, terminal filament. Capricorn, self-knowledge, spinal cord opposite to heart. Aquarius, conscious sameness, spinal cord opposite to shoulders. Species, pure intelligence and an abstract will. Spinal cord opposite to the cervical vertebra. So these are all the things that actually representing. So we know this means only this kind of constellations, and we know these people born in this will have these qualities. How the qualities are coming up? Because in the universal language, the 12 points say scale, all these different points are actually representing the different kinds of the consciousness or emotion or something. So when you are actually born in that area, so your thought process will go in that way. That's how he was divided. So here the figure B, because I'm showing all the figures first. From Libra onward, the physical body of the man by thinking may extend to the lines towards every point. From Libra, the lines towards every point and related to the, then it will go to the intelligence, even to the nameless points and nameless circle. So here if you see, right, so how the symbols are representing. And here these horizontal lines are the mostly the manifested ones, and the vertical lines are unmanifested ones of the thing. So here if you see, this is a circle. In the circle, unmanifested is half circle and the manifested is the below circle. Or if you see vertical, this is the left side is the nature side and the right side is the intelligence side. So these are all the symbols. These symbols represents so much so into like this. It is not just the zodiac signs. It has a lot of symbol behind it, lot of knowledge that is there in that particular thing. The horizontals, whatever the figure that we have shown, are the straight lines which relate to the orderly sequence of certain units on the nature side and manifested half of each other with the corresponding units on the intelligence side. This side is a nature side and this side is an intelligence side. In the physical world, the horizontal represents the light. Physical world, the horizontal lines represents the light, life, and form of the physical world. The perpendiculars, the lines, are straight lines which relate vertically certain points in unmanifested with the corresponding points in the manifested. Perpendiculars are the lines which show how units become consciousness. So how units is becoming the consciousness. Initially, the units are not so conscious. So that's why I always say, just because we are meditating, just because we are doing something, we did not become so great or anything. It is that when you just crossed your rock life to the plant life to animal life and then come to the human life, in the initial stages, because you got used to killing the other animals and eating, so in those lifetimes people will still eat that kind of non-vegetarian or anything. People will still crave for it. The reason is they came to that kind of lives, right? So because of that, their consciousness is at that level. So their points or whatever the things, they have not become conscious of their consciousness. When they have not become conscious of their consciousness, how can they understand the self knowledge, intelligent side, triune self, all these things, right? So when they doesn't understand, it doesn't mean that they are any low. They are just starting in the evolving point. They are just starting. And suppose there is a person who just came and who doesn't know anything, and you took 1,000 lifetimes and then you understand what is a self-knowledge. You cannot compare these two souls. You and me just try to compare the age in this earth planet in this costume or in this lifetime, which is not right. So that is why, so each symbol, according to the symbol that they have born also, they will have some kind of, what do you say, some kind of thought process will be going on. The opposites, the straight lines is a thing. Then the opposites are the verticals, right? Center, the verticals are perpendiculars are the straight lines that are vertically certain unmanifested units. These are the manifested units and these are the unmanifested. Between these things, there are some opposite lines that we have seen, right? Those lines are the center of the circle. Those are connecting to the center of the circle, connecting to the opposite sides. There are the six opposite angles are there. They related to manifested to the unmanifested. How they will do manifested to unmanifested, how they can be done, that they will do. Then the circle. The circle is having a 12 points in the circumference in the origin. The sum of the greatest of all geometrical symbols. All the geometrical symbols were represented here. Man and the universe are related and can only be understood by the relation to the circle. So one point, they can understand relation to the circle. The circle is a super consciousness are the whole thing. So here we have to understand that we are that part of that wholeness. We are part of that supreme consciousness, we can say. When the circle is the super consciousness, supreme consciousness as a whole, then we are the part, a speck of that. In the 12 dots are there, right? In the 12 dots also, you're a tiny dot in between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 or 3 and 4 or somewhere. You are that tiny dot. That's why when you are saying that dot, right? Suppose if I say December 30, some November 21st to December 21st, if I 20th, if I say you are on that dot, this dot will have the ending qualities of the previous and the starting qualities of this. This is the reason why that the center 3 days will always have the mixed qualities. So those birthday falls under the 19, 20, 21. Those qualities will be mixing of those two zodiac signs and those two things, because they are the edge of that and the beginning of this. They have not possessed fully, they did not live fully them, and they have not possessed fully of these things. This illustrates, means this gives a overall thing, right? How that invisible. So when we born in that particular symbol or bearing some connection with the wholesome, so you finally the spirituality understand only one thing, I could say, how we have to understand we are that part of that complete circle. You are the part of that entire supreme consciousness. That is the one that you have to understand. Whatever the experiences that you are getting it, whatever the experiences you may facing it, whoever the people you are actually coming across every day, if you are aware of that, I am also part of that circle, and he is also part of that circle, and she is also part of that circle. Suppose when we go out, your brother, your own brother or sister had done something mistake, what you will do? You will try to protect them. No, 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 no. She thought of that. She thought of this, or he thought of that. Because you will try to protect him because you think they are your family, isn't it? Similarly, the that wholeness, that whole circle. Whoever is born in what do you say? Born in Aries, or whoever born in Pisces, because Pisces is a complete thing, right? So whichever they were born in, they were all connected. They were all interconnected. They are actually growing up. Like, as I always give an example, like saying, we cannot expect a kindergartner to do a calculus, isn't it? Like 11th grader or 12th grader. Similarly, you cannot expect a who just born in an Aries to have a self knowledge, to strive for self actualization. So these are the things that will happen, because they will get evolved in that circle. They will also get evolved one after the other. So this diagram, whatever the diagram that I showed, it is representing the relationship with the whole self, where you are in that whole self. What is the relationship with that whole supreme consciousness? So this circle of the 12 points is not only it is having a relationship, bearings and analogies which demonstrates, but this picture of the things which demonstrate the relations also. The 12 points can be used to distinguish the measure or prefigure the relationships by degrees in which the matter is consciousness. By degrees, how much each matter is consciousness, these 12 points will represent. The figure, in that figure, the 12 points reveals or explains the arrangement of the constitutions of the universe. How this universe, entire universe was arranged. The place for everything in it. This includes the unmanifested side as well as manifested parts. It applies every kind of matter, force and a thing that is manifested universe, from predominant unit of the fire, because fire to the supreme intelligence, from the fire, why fire is the element to the supreme intelligence. These symbols shows the makeup or the true proposition of the human being in relationship to the everything inside and outside, how this relationship is happening. It shows the human being to be a pivot, a balance wheel. Every time we need to become a balance wheel, and you are that microcosm in the entire world. You are that kind of thing we have to understand. It proves an ultimate purpose of universe. That purpose is to have substance become consciousness. Unmanifested substance manifests as units of matter. A units of matter progresses is being conscious in various degrees until the conscious as its function as a unit, or the body or each cell is conscious of it is the part of the triune self. So each matter in your body is going to go all the circles. It will go progress all the things when you are conscious of consciousness, I can say. When you're conscious of consciousness, or when you're conscious of your triune self. You are not alone. You are not just the doer. You are the doer, thinker, and the knower. So, when you are becoming that, you will understand that not only me, you are also that triune self. You are also the triune self. Everybody is the part of the triune self. You will become that consciousness. The stages of the progression through which every being must pass in its travel towards ultimate purpose or indicate the purpose. This symbol is like a clock which ticks up the progress, everything from fire unit to the intelligent unit. Starting from the fire unit to the intelligent unit, it is making a progress. It gives a calendar, the history of the universe, how the universe is making the changes in this figure. The symbols here reveals how your mind works. The symbols that is representing how your mind works, how efforts, actually how you are putting that efforts to with the light, right? How you are focusing with the light. Each symbol through your four senses controls the human thinking. Each symbol that you are born, it through your four senses, it controls your human thinking. How human thinking is done on the life plane of the physical world, and how analogous limitations to thinking are encountered into the other world. The symbol reveals all these things or many other worlds as well. So not only this world, many other worlds have this symbol. These revelations of thinking with the symbols, it will understand how your thinking is flowing, how one's thinking is flowing. The 12 points and the circle are marvelous, the most far reaching, and they are yet powerful symbols. This information is on the various subjects. The symbol, whatever the symbol, that everything that was right from human head to the each and every body part it is representing. The symbol is stamped everything but human head being highest thing in the physical world. Express it visibly. The half above, from the half above, the eyes represents the half above the eyes is representing the unmanifested, the half below is the manifested, that is representing the circle that we have shown, right? In the previously, that is what. The circle begins with the head, which is the point, and extend along the front of the body to the crotch. It is coming to the crotch, and then from there, it's going back to the thing, along with the spine to the head. But because the changed state of the doer, the circle was known, because that's how actually it will go. When there is a circle, right, it will go one by one, one by one, one by one, and you will enlighten. But what happened? Why everybody is not getting enlightened? Because of your mind, changed state of mind, you are not actually letting the things flow through as it was representing in the circle. If you are letting the things flow through as representing the circle, everybody, like from one state to the another, we will get enlightened and we will be knowing, understanding the things. But the thing is, because we have altered our state of thinking, it was broken. It was broken at the sternum. The three brains, which are functioning, the three sections of the torso, are scattered. They were scattered and transformed into the different organs of our body. Like previously, because in the triune self, we don't have all these organs, right? But when our thinking was broken and all these organs were formed and it was started, because of the importance of the circle and the 12 points, each symbol which man come into the contact with a knowledge, he was lost. Whenever he comes to that particular, I born in an Aries, so I born with some knowledge. I born with a Virgo, I born with some knowledge, but it was lost. Because it was lost, again, you are not behaving, you are not going to the progressive manner. You are not, because you don't know what. Suppose if you go to the fifth grade, if you know what you have learned in the fourth grade, then you will be able to understand what actually being taught in the fifth grade. If you don't know what you have learned in the fourth grade and directly was kept in the fifth grade, and if you don't know ABCDs, or if you don't know additions and subtractions, and if you are placed in the fifth grade and asked to do some algebra or some kind of things, will you be able to do that? You'll not be able to do that, because you forgotten the things. Here also in the human life, because each symbol of the life, if you're born as a Virgo, means you got with some knowledge, because in that symbol. You born with a Libra, you got with some symbol. You born with a Sagittarius, you born with some kind of knowledge. But with our distorted thinking, we lost that knowledge. When we lost that knowledge, we are unable to progress, make a progress. When we are unable to make a progress, we are re-existing again and again. Successful re-existing portions are passing through because of that, which until that units got respond. The human body also bears, not only the circle, the human body is also bearing those signs. It has a connection to those 12 points. All nature, from at least 1 point to the 12 points, we have some connection. They are arranged the star groups. There are, because we know, right, they are arranged as a star groups to represent the fancy 12 animals, because these are all the animals that we have arranged it. Capricorn means something, Sagittarian means something. Some animals were given. Animals are humans. In the heavens, the seasons of the years are something like that we started giving, but it is actually the symbols only. These sowing and harvesting that works in the right. So similarly, we just started with some kind of symbols and some kind of religion, some cult or mystery. All the things were started with all these things in part, but originally the zodiac symbols are representing. This is the thing, the value of the zodiac symbol consisting of not only the knowledge which offers, it is offering eventually, it has some information. It has some information that you come with. It leads to the knowledge. Automatically, it is leading to the knowledge. So these elements, which surpasses the accuracy and any language of the science and religion. These 12 names stand for the principles of the science and certain mathematics. It is, they are not kept just like that. These have some certain mathematics and some kind of science is there. But if one begins to think the zodiac figure, he will compel by the figure that relative position of the science that he think logically. Then he starts thinking logically. He will have that concerning of that value or a principle or the nature or the type of the subject that he is thinking, right? He is able to focus on it when he was aware of it. Words are merely introduced. Thinking about the points establish the familiarity. When you have started thinking about these points, it will give you the familiarity. These points are nameless points initially. They are just the symbols. They do not have any names. But for convenience sake, we bought some 12 animals to that, and we bought some 12 names to that, and we said those are the 12 signs according to the constellation it is forming. However, is these 12 points themselves are very abstract, like I explained, like a chakras. These 12 points are very abstract. They are nameless and conceived according to the degree of a particular human being, of thinkers in in their consciousness. So these 12 points were only the mere abstract symbols only. Zodiacs are spoken, and they are consisting of, because based on this the astrology or astronomy started into existence based on these symbols. So what is zodiac then? If we, when we started, what is zodiac and what is this 12 points symbolize? If I take it, the entire whole circle is representing oneness. The whole is representing the oneness. It is all there. What is all there? Time, space, beings, events, all that is there in this particular oneness. The 12 aspects behind which the each understand that there are 12 abstract points on that circle. They shows the relationship between this point to that whole, the center of the circle, right? What is that relation? These 12 points are representing. Conscious, remember, consciousness is not a being, or it is not a thing, or it is not a state to acquire. All beings are conscious, right? All beings, all things, and all states which exist, which are supposed to be exist, are there because of consciousness. So consciousness is not there. Like enlightenment is not a state that you acquire. You are already enlightened being. Remove that dust. Suppose there is a mirror is there. There is a lot of dust is there. Will you be able to see your face on that? Then what do you do? Will you say that this man, will you get the new mirror, or will you clear off the mirror? You will clear off the mirror, right? When you clear off the mirror, so you will be able to see your image. Similarly, we are all that consciousness, but we are unable to have that presence of the conscious within us. So everything depends on that conscious. You cannot, consciousness is not the state to attain. You just need to dust it out. We can, it cannot be changed. The consciousness cannot be changed, or it cannot be affected, or it cannot be divided, it cannot be destroyed, or it cannot be improved, or it cannot be weighed, or it cannot be measured. That's the consciousness. That it has a no degree of the consciousness, no attributes, no properties, no qualities, no states. It has a no limitations, no beings, and no beginning, and no end. It is there in the manifested form, and it is there in the unmanifested form as well. So that's how it is starting. The Taurus, the first Taurus, one symbol I'm taking. Taurus represent the motion. Taurus is representing the motion. Symbolizes the nameless point which is in the presence. And this presence which makes possible departures from the supernature, the activity of the moment in the activity of the moment in the nature. So they will be like most of this. The presence of motion is the cause of movement in the matter. It does not move things directly because it is not the matter. It is within, behind the matter, and the presence cause the impulse in the drive in the nature. So they are not they cause the nature. So they cause the moving thing in the nature. Similarly, when I come to the Gemini, Gemini is a substance symbolizing the nameless point, which is a presence. And the presence means, which is substance as it is, has a potential to become a matter. So substance, when it is representing, it has a presence to become the matter. So it has a presence to become a manifested form. Substance is a space, homogeneous, same throughout. It has a no dimension, no extension, no push, no pull. Yet it supports, it contains through all the matter. There is a molecule. This molecule can be there in any form, right? In any form. It can be in a watery form, in anything. It itself is not having, but it is having the kind of it is helping the other any other things. Yet it supports, contains all the matter in the world, everything it can support like a sponge. All matter appears, all the matter that we are seeing, it appears and it vanishes. It is all the human perceptions. Out of it comes all the matter. It is a one potential attribute or the duality. It has a matter has a duality, good, bad, like, dislike, that kind of thing, right? This matter becomes unmanifested, unmanifested to manifest in the state of universe. Then come to the Cancer. Cancer is representing the symbol breath. This is also a nameless point, and by the presence of which the substance become the units of the fire and element of the fire as a whole, and unmanifested can become the manifested. Breath or the fire is an activity at the beginning to end of all the matter. All the matter. It is the perseverance and permanence of the universe of microcosm. It is the state in which the matter coming out of the substance first appears as a manifestation. With the breath, it is coming out of the substance and coming as a manifestation. It is coming as a matter from out of unmanifested to the manifest. As an individual, primordial units through the beyond the nature, that is, oneness is with the breath. Oneness is with breath, you can do it. Every being is a manifested under this universe only. So maintained by every being is manifested under this universe and maintained by breath only and remains in the breath. As long as the breath is there, then only you are present, right? Next come to the Leo. Leo are a life. Leo represents a life, symbolizes the nameless point here. Here this presents behind the units of the air and the element of the air as a whole. As a whole, it is the activity turned into the growth, because the life is turning into the growth throughout your nature. Life or air is the principle combined to the growth. It presents causes the active side of the matter, energizes the changes of the passive sides, and combine to grow. All this, nevertheless, perseverance or permanence of all containing and all pervasive breath. By life is a carrier of the breath. Previous thing is the breath, and now the by life is a carrier of the breath, and it kept all the activity that it has. Next, I'll discuss one more and stop. Next one is Virgo. Virgo is the form symbols. Form. Virgo is the form that it comes. It is the nameless point, which is the presence, which is behind the units of water. The element of the water as a whole. It represents the water as a whole, but it presents the units of the water function as the form. From the principle by which the activities of the mass and life are held within the definite bounds. Virgo is a carrier of the life. It controls it. It holds to the it passes the passive side matter to the bound. It perceives and it preserves the whole the active side. So let me stop here, because from Libra 6 it will start the other side of the